Prime Minister will see for himself the damage done by the deadly North Queensland flooding disaster when he visits Townsville today. Floodwaters are easing, but the crisis is far from over in Ingham, which remains cut off, and more storms are on the way.
Ingham is a town in crisis, cut off by floodwaters. Thousands of people remain without power and food supplies are dwindling. Days after floodwaters tore through, the scenes of destruction are heartbreaking.
It's pretty crazy and it sucks with nothing. We've had to swim from our houses to the shops and they haven't been open either.
In the heart of Ingham, hundreds are queuing outside grocery stores, trying to get whatever they can. Communication lines are down, leaving many unable to call for help or check in with loved ones.
Once the water goes down, that's when the hard work really starts, because you've got people lost their whole lives in their houses, high houses. They've got 2 foot of water in them.
But relief is finally arriving. The Australian Defence Force is flying in critical supplies. On this delivery, pallets of drinking water, cartons of fruit and vegetables, as well as fresh meat, all desperately needed for a town with empty shelves.
It's everything, so meat and fresh fruit and veggies and water and a pretty proud store manager as well.
A backup generator has also been delivered, allowing the town's water supply to get back up and running.
The issue was with firstly getting the power to the actual water system, and now it's been with the communications issue, but council's working on it and they've done a really good job to get it reconnected.
But the fight is far from over. The entire community remains in the dark.
We've got to get permanent power. We've flown workers in via air to try and get them in ahead of the game, and hopefully we'll know more on that soon.
Restoring access is another battle. The Alera Creek Bridge has collapsed, cutting off a crucial route. Premier David Crisafulli had to walk across damaged railway tracks just to get into town. This is the main bridge connecting locals over the Herbert River, but right now it's also a major collection point for debris. Logs, branches and uprooted trees have piled up on this structure. The floods have claimed the life of a second person in Ingham. The 82-year-old woman discovered on Tuesday morning in a cane paddock. As the water finally starts to recede, the true scale of devastation is revealed.
It gets that way where you're scared if you stand on something, well, you don't want to cut yourself open and you'll end up with melioidosis or something like that.
Neil Brown has lived by Palm Creek for 2 decades, but this flood has left damage unlike anything else he's ever seen.
Usually we only get a hose out and a bit of a clean up, but this time here all our walls have swollen, all our doors are swollen even more than ever before.
His neighbour was even worse off, trapped in his truck for 3 days and completely surrounded by floodwaters.
Couldn't see him because the window, he couldn't wind the window down or anything to yell out, so he was just stuck in there and no one could hear it. You can't hear anything for the water flowing through.
Floodwaters are receding, but the danger isn't over yet. With more thunderstorms on the horizon, the risk remains high. Catchments in North Queensland are already saturated, leaving little room for more rainfall.
The Herbert River remains at major levels, and that gives you an indication of how big this flood is. For it to remain so stubbornly high for so long is really going to test the resolve of locals.
But despite the devastation, there is resilience. Neighbours helping neighbours, volunteers stepping up, and emergency teams doing everything they can to bring Ingham back from this disaster.
To think that a town has rallied the way that it has, and a state has rallied around that town, that tells you everything you need to know about this state.
Lauren Forbes, Sky News Ingham.